It's the evolution of NIL. College football QB land's first known political NIL deal endorses local district attorney candidate. Now, this kid, who is an FCS quarterback, I believe, at Tennessee Martin, says in a tweet, "Thank you to lifelong supporter and candidate for District Attorney General for the 27th Judicial District of Tennessee, Colin Johnson, for coming to my camp this weekend. Elections are in August, so make sure you are registered to vote." And I'm not sure if he's endorsing, if this dude's a Republican or Democrat. I would imagine he's a Republican, being from Tennessee. Very interesting. Dresser Wynn is this kid's name. And in the article from CBS, it says Wynn's NIL-fueled political endorsement is regarded as a first in college sports' new frontier, allowing athletes to profit off their public personas. Wynn, who has 1,300 followers on Twitter and 3,000 on Instagram, is entering his sixth season with the Skyhawks, Tennessee Martin that is, which compete at the FCS level. And I thought this was a really good paragraph. Even though if college athletes start doing deals with politicians, this is really what NIL was supposed to be about. While this segment of fans who prefer that athletes stick to sports may not appreciate the wadding into paid political endorsements, Wynn's deal more closely resembles a true NIL agreement than some of what is going on in college football. As third-party collectives at Power 5 schools amass war chests to attract top talent under the guise of NIL, organic opportunities that amount to endorsements have taken a back seat in the conversation. Apparently, this kid has had a personal relationship with this candidate, and it would be funny if we started seeing more of these political deals in NIL, like someone endorsing Donald Trump or something. Could you imagine that for 2024? That'd be hilarious. But I just thought, with the evolution, it is so interesting to see a story, even if it is just an FCS kid actually endorsing a candidate through an NIL deal. And then just another quick story I wanted to talk about. CBS Sports ranks the biggest winners of the 2022 transfer portal cycle. So this is just a good recap of the 5 biggest winners, the 5 teams that improved the most through this new transfer portal. And of course, Lincoln Riley going to USC, they are number 1. Caleb Williams, Jordan Addison, one of the best future quarterbacks in college football, one of the best receivers in college football. And apparently, you take a look, they got 19 total players through the transfer portal. I mean, it's a complete rebuild. The transfer portal allows programs, allows new coaches to rebuild literally in an off season. It's not even like you need 1 year. Because of the immediate eligibility, USC, 19 new additions, superstar quarterback, superstar receiver who they completely tampered with. And they've just, this kid was voted the nation's best receiver in college football last year. He's now on USC. It's like they got him in a trade for nothing. Like, this is crazy, but USC, the expectations with the addition of Jordan Addison, what a great job by their boosters, by their NIL to get Jordan Addison. They're probably right up there 1A, 1B with Utah to win the Pac-12 at this point. I mean, they've clearly got more talent than Utah. It's just going to come down to that big road game. They face Utah on the road. But, wait, that's not going into effect until 2023. The Pac-12 is eliminating divisions, but that's not until 2023. So the 2022 season will be played with divisions still intact. The number 2 team who won in the transfer portal, Ole Miss. I agree with this. You're getting Zach Evans, who's a former 5-star running back. Jaxson Dart is a really high-end, talented quarterback that was pushed out of USC because they got Caleb Williams. And then Michael Trigg. Kind of interesting, that kid transferred. Don't really know the story on that one, but that is a very athletic tight end that a lot of people are high on. Those are 3 elite offensive additions. I think Ole Miss's defense is going to be lacking a little bit. in the 2022, but they get Alabama at home. That should be a huge game. And I don't think it's until like week 6 or week 7. So Jaxson Dart should have time in that Lane Kiffin offense to get comfortable. You've got a lot of talent there. They definitely won. The number 3 team, they have Nebraska. So I would definitely put Texas at number 3 with Quinn Ewers. I understand Nebraska added Casey Thompson, the quarterback from Texas who started a few games last year, really didn't live up to the expectations. And then also Marcus Washington, who was a talented receiver. So Nebraska definitely improved, but they have Nebraska at 3 and Texas at 4. I would put Texas at 3 for sure. Even just with Quinn Ewers. I mean, that's a generational talent. And what people don't understand with Texas, Quinn Ewers, as long as he lives up to like half of what people think he's going to be, Quinn Ewers is going to give Texas so much ammunition on the recruiting trail because he's very likely going to be a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. It's going to make Steve Sarkisian's job recruiting quarterbacks that much easier because he's going to have the ability to say, look at what we did with Quinn Ewers, who transferred into the program, started for 2 years, and then became a top 5 pick. Quinn Ewers, you guys, the number 1 overall quarterback, the number 1 overall prospect in 2022, reclassified to 2021, and was still the number 1 overall prospect, rated a perfect 1,000. This is an Andrew Luck, Trevor Lawrence type NFL prospect where he has literally everything you want in an NFL franchise quarterback. And Quinn Ewers, even if he doesn't live up to his potential completely, he's still going to be a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. That's why I would probably put Texas at number 3, maybe even number 2. That is a huge get for Texas, Quinn Ewers. And it's not like a lot went into it. I mean, Ewers was originally from Texas. He was committed to Texas originally. He decommits. He commits to Ohio State. Then he reclassifies, which pissed off Ryan Day. And then he has the 1 year at Ohio State, plays 2 snaps, and then transfers back. And then the number 5 team, it is South Carolina, and they did add, Spencer Rattler, very interesting. The one word to describe South Carolina, intriguing. They've got 2 5-star defensive linemen on that roster. And they also have, Spencer Rattler, the tight end from Oklahoma, who transferred with Spencer Rattler through the portal. Very interesting team, a talented team. Will they be able to put that talent together? Will they be able to get the most out of Spencer Rattler after his disastrous 2021 season where he went from a potential top 5 pick in the 2022 draft to having to transfer out of Oklahoma and go to a different program? What an absolute disaster year it was for Spencer Rattler, but he's still got a chance to redeem himself here, and we'll see if he can do that. And he still has a chance to be a first-round pick, certainly. I think he certainly does. And then I wanted to talk about this. Mark Spears, who is a ESPN analyst, it says here he fires back at Nick Saban for calling out Deion Sanders and historically black colleges. I don't think Nick Saban was calling out historically black colleges in specific. He was just calling out the way the Travis Hunter recruitment was handled. And it says here, this is a quote, Coach Deion Sanders at Jackson State got Travis Hunter to come play, the number 1 player in the country who plays defensive back and wide receiver, and he's going to play for the greatest defensive back to ever play in the NFL. Why don't we mention that as being part of the reason that he went to Jackson State, a historically black college? If he got $1 million, so what? If it was within the rules and that structure is where the NIL is right now, so what? You have the same ability at the University of Alabama. So to me, that is such a bad argument. It's like, well, if everyone is cheating, just cheat with them. It's like that is, to me, that is a horrible argument. And technically, I believe Travis Hunter was paid not through Jackson State boosters, not through Deion Sanders. Travis Hunter got a separate NIL deal, through a separate company that facilitated him going to Jackson State. So technically, he's right in this quote in saying they didn't. Again, this is the whole thing with these other programs like Texas A&M weaponizing NIL. this is why NIL needs to be cleaned up. And then when you make a quote and your argument is, well, if every other program is cheating or giving kids money just to go to schools, you should do it too. That's not a legitimate argument. So what, is everyone just going to cheat and give out $5 million to every 5-star? That is not a legitimate path future for college football. You know, so just everyone cheats and everyone gives out $3 million, and that's good. That's healthy for the sport, and that's healthy for 17-year-old kids giving them $3 million. Really? That's going to end well? A lot of these kids that are getting these NIL deals, their lives are going to be worse with the money. Could you imagine getting $1 million at the age of 17? We all would like to think, oh, we would invest it, we would save it, you know, we would be very careful with it. But the reality of the situation is many of these kids have no clue how to handle finances. They've got $100 in their bank account one day, and the next day they've got $1 million. So it's like, how do you handle that? So, you know, this NIL thing, I've talked about it for a while. The argument, it's like everyone else is doing it, you should do it too. That's not a legitimate argument. That's ridiculous. This needs to be policed. Travis Hunter 100% got paid. And, you know, the whole argument, well, if they're doing it, you should do it too. Come on, really? That's really a way forward? So we're all just going to give every 5-star recruit a multi-million-dollar deal to go to a certain school? That's not a legitimate solution. Come on. Really? And I know he's talking about historic. Nobody's talking about, like, anything against historically black colleges. The bottom line was Travis Hunter was committed to Florida State for over 2 frickin' years, and on National Signing Day, due to a multi-million-dollar NIL deal, I'm not saying Deion Sanders paid the kid. He didn't. I'm not saying Jaxson State boosters paid the kid. I don't believe they did, but he got a multi-million-dollar NIL deal that was widely reported to flip his commitment from Florida State to Jaxson State. And the whole argument is, oh, if everyone's paying kids just to go to schools, even though that's against NCAA guidelines, because they're not policing it, everyone should just do that? Come on. That's ridiculous. I thought that was so stupid, but guys, just wanted to touch on it again. NIL, it's getting crazy. We're seeing political, you know, it get into politics a little, political candidates get endorsed. We've got the 2022 midterms coming up. I don't think this is going to be a normal thing that people are going to do very often. Apparently this FCS kid has a relationship with the guy he's endorsing to run for whatever district attorney of Tennessee. I'd imagine it's a Republican being in the state of Tennessee, but yeah, I don't think it's going to be a regular thing, but it would be hilarious to see a recruit endorse Donald Trump and get an NIL deal. Seriously, that would be hilarious. But guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.